AI continues to drive gyrations in the market. Anthropic released a tool that can be used by lawyers, and that triggered a sharp sell-off in software names, companies that thrive on data crunching and letting companies interrogate databases. We already mentioned selling in Adobe, for example, and I see Constellation Software under a little bit of pressure. So let's get to some companies that are affected by this AI revolution. We are joined by Jamie Murray, Murray Wealth Group. Jamie, great to see you. Let's start off with AMD. Investors not delighted with that stock today. And of course, they are seen as a contender to provide devices for AI computing.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by the reaction in AMD. It's not a company that we own right now. We prefer NVIDIA or Broadcom in the semiconductor space, but AMD's a solid third place competitor. And what the real catalyst for this company is their new MI400 chip series that's going to be launched in the second half of this year. And I think that's why most investors who are holding this and why we've seen some rally in the stock in the recent months are looking forward to. So these results, they're in line. There's a little bit of noise around China revenue maybe driving the outperformance. But I think overall, there's still healthy growth there and more opportunity for AMD to grab some market share over the next year.
Now, Uber down. The profit outlook didn't delight investors, and they've also promoted or named as their new chief financial officer an executive seen as an outspoken enthusiast for driverless technology, but that's going to be expensive. Of course, AI plays a role in that too.
Yeah, exactly. So Uber is kind of being hit on two different fears. I know you were talking about the Anthropic legal assistant agent. And so I think there is some concern with the companies like Uber and DoorDash on the agentic commerce, where maybe it's not going to be me or you booking our Uber through the Uber app. We're using an agent that's going to find us a ride share or meal delivery. So that's one factor. And then the other factor is the Waymo and Tesla autonomous vehicles. And there's questions around, is Uber going to be a beneficiary from these AV rollouts, or are they going to be disrupted if these two companies can go it alone and they don't actually need to partner with Uber? So Uber, the stock's come back up. It was down 10%. I think it's down, it's down 5%, I guess, now where I see. The numbers were, again, mostly in line. The mobility numbers were slightly light on the booking side. But the company did a really good job laying out why they think they're the partner of choice for autonomous vehicles. And it's really going to be a wait and see how this market develops over the next 2 years. If Uber can get more and more third-party suppliers of autonomous vehicles onto their platform, that's going to be great for the company, and the stock's probably a great value at this price. But if we just see only two other players, Waymo and Tesla, and it's really just Waymo right now growing the market, then that's going to continue to be an overhang for the stock.
And Lilly, of course, we're hearing about more and more competition emerging in the weight loss drug market. We've talked to Vimy a couple of times. They're a Canadian company planning to start selling generic weight loss drugs in Canada. Lilly, though, providing a forecast that Wall Street liked.
Yeah, Lilly's been knocking out of the park, and this all comes down to execution. So obviously Novo, I know you talked about the top of the show. Novo Nordisk, their big competitor in the weight loss market, is down significantly and down significantly over the last year. Lilly's stock price has pretty much gone the other way and seeing great results today. And this really comes down to Lilly's bet on manufacturing and distribution that they made a few years ago. When there's shortages of these drugs, they significantly ramped up distribution. And so now it's more of a volume game versus a price game. So the price of these drugs is coming down as it gets more competitive, but Lilly's taking more market share because they have the production and the volume to meet the supply.
Yeah, it's fascinating, but Novo Nordisk struggling. And Novo, as you probably know, is a huge part of the Danish economy. It drives economic growth in that country. It's almost a bit like Nortel became such a huge part of our stock market, at least. Jamie, what are you looking out for in the next few weeks from the market? Is there anything you think investors are underestimating in terms of impact?
I don't know if there's anything. I mean, we're still bullish on AI and the benefits. I think there's been a lot of shift to the risk that AI is going to pose to software companies, tech companies, anything that's not like a hard asset company has been under pressure, it seems like, over the last month. But I don't think the market's looking at some of the opportunities. Now, certainly there will be companies that get disrupted. I think it's mostly going to be in the automation space where tasks that are very repetitive, very mind-numbing, boring tasks like that are going to get autonomous. An AI agent will certainly take those, but I don't think on the consumer side we're going to see that much disruption. Just from consumers really like choice. We want to pick what meal we're getting. We want to choose the hotel. We want to choose our experiences. I don't think humans are fully ready to outsource that. So I think there is some good opportunities and some consumer companies that will be benefit from AI being added to their products rather than disrupted from it.
Yeah, we just saw a company called VenHub open the NASDAQ, and they are opening automated stores. They vary in size, but they're like giant vending machines. I wonder, they say that it reduces crime. Maybe I guess you'd need pickaxes to get the stuff out. It's interesting, though, hard to get labor, and so we may see that emerging as well.
Yeah, and definitely. I mean, I think the automation on like robotics or automating, that's exactly where we're looking. So, I mean, the warehouse part is a big thing too. Autonomous vehicles, autonomous deliveries. These are going to be big themes over the next decade. And in terms of like things to look out for, so I mean, tonight we have Alphabet earnings. Obviously, that company's had a phenomenal run, and it's going to need to provide a strong outlook for 2026 to see that continue. And then Amazon tomorrow, and Amazon's those are our two top holdings in our global equity growth fund. So we're really looking forward to that, and particularly Amazon on the robotic autonomy side. They're one of the leaders in implementing these new robotics into their warehouses. Again, that's going to be another big theme, we think, over the next decade. These dark warehouses where it's more robots, more autonomy, less humans.
Jamie, thanks very much indeed. Jamie Murray, president of the Murray Wealth Group.